Geeks assemble! What's up, everybody? It's your host, the bad boy of comics, here for another Geeks with Wives and Capes, episode 84, where we talk about comic book sequential art, everything superhero. I am joined by my two co-hosts tonight and a very special guest. How is everyone doing?
Pretty epic tonight.
Pretty
I'm
good.
gonna be down here for a minute.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, so let's go down the line and introduce everybody. First off the bat, so we got Piper, Steed. How's it going, Piper? No wig tonight. Introducing the new haircut.
Yeah, I really hated it and was ashamed of it for a long time. So I wore tons of wigs, hats, and hoods for a while, and I finally, I guess, mashed it down enough that I'm going wigless tonight.
I kind of miss the wig. Not saying the haircut's bad.
No, I miss the wig too. I'm probably gonna go back to wigs because they're way more fun. But I was lazy today, so I figured that I've had a couple of people like asking for pictures of the haircut because I said I hated it. So I figured they could see the haircut now.
The reveal. That's what I'm gonna name the episode. The haircut reveal.
Right? I'm still thinking about shaving it all off. I mean,
I saw a girl
if I shave it off.
I saw a girl cross the street in front of me the other day while I was driving, completely bald. Like bald. And I was like, I made like this is such a terrible person I am. I was like, oh, she did it because she was like cutting it off for cancer or something. Like she either had cancer or she was doing it to like donate her hair to cancer.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Yeah, like that's the only reason because I'm such like a misogynist asshole.
Have you guys ever?
That worried me because I wanted originally to just shave my head to start over instead of just cutting it really short to start over. And I was really afraid that between that and wearing a bunch of wigs that people would start thinking that maybe I had cancer, and I didn't want to give that impression so that...
Have you guys ever seen the Mark Duplass show, The League, the fantasy football comedy?
Absolutely. Watch every season, every episode twice. At least.
Have you seen the episode where Jenny, is doing some gardening work and she has the pink bandana on?
Yeah.
People think she has breast cancer and she totally plays it up for like the whole month of October. And I felt like a terrible person and I was going to hell after watching that episode. But that's what that conversation reminded me of.
I feel like a terrible person after every episode of The League.
And after every episode of this podcast as well.
Yeah.
Especially this podcast.
Well,
Especially this episode.
Have we met our offending people quota yet?
Yeah, just close. That southern accent you hear, that's our newest co-host, Bradley Bell. How you going, Brad?
Doing great.
How you going?
I'm going good. Going good down here, down south. I was just glad you could put up with my southern accent for 2 weeks in a row. Glad to be back, guys, and talking about a cool comic tonight.
Quick question. How down south?
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Alabama. I think I got you beat.
Alabama? Well, I went to...
If it helps, I'm from Louisiana. It's about as south.
John, you need to work on your accent, buddy.
Yeah.
I know. My accent's not really very thick.
No, not at all. A lot of people think I'm from Alabama. I've got that question a lot.
It's a pretty. Wait, hold on. I should have asked this beforehand. Whatever. We're just gonna roll with it.
Go ahead.
Language.
You're fine.
Language.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
Don't be
pretty,
racist. You're good.
It's a pretty shitty place to live.
Yeah.
Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm lucky being in the city here, or right outside of the city.
I've been to Charlotte a couple times for Heroes Con. Love it.
Yes, that's a great show. One of the last true comic book conventions in America. No movie stuff, just creators, artists. Working on getting a press pass together for that show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. I read Southern Bastards. That's in the South.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in Alabama, too.
I think we can all agree, at least from being in various states down south, that Mississippi is just the worst.
Oh, Mississippi is the worst.
Yeah, Mississippi is the worst.
There goes our one Mississippi listener. Yep, just dropped it off.
Yep.
I got to meet Jason Latour not too long ago, who writes Southern Bastards, and he lives in Charlotte, so.
Oh yeah, he tweets a lot about.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Big Carolina Panthers fan. I feel bad for him because I am too.
Yep, football.
All right, so this is why this podcast goes way too long. Just tangent after tangent after tangent. So let us introduce our
What's
guest
wrong
tonight.
with you nerds talking about football?
I know.
Jeez.
Football's gonna end up being like the plague of like the 20th century. Watch, I bet you guys.
No, that's gonna be superhero movies.
Whew.
How dare you? How dare you? That's a good way to not get invited back, Brad.
Oh, snap.
So back to introducing John. So our guest tonight, the creator of the Monogamous, I'm going to mess this up so bad. The Monogamous Adventures of Edward and Pepper. Oh, I almost said Piper.
Oh,
Almost said Piper.
That would have been awesome.
that's almost 100% correct. You almost had it.
The Monogamous Adventures of Edward and Pepper.
Yes.
Yep, by Jon Johnstick. Is that your real name?
Yeah, sadly, that is not a pen name. I was born with that name.
Your parents were like, he's going to be a radio DJ.
It's been a hard life being an alliteration kid. Everyone just messes it up.
It's okay. Peter Parker seems to be doing pretty good for himself now.
I don't know. His girlfriends keep on either like mysteriously vanishing or dying.
He should have been a Marvel character with that name.
Yeah, right.
Ryan with Pepper Potts.
Dan Slott, come on, call me.
Is your girlfriend disappearing really a terrible thing? Maybe it's just a sign from God.
Oh my God!
I don't know. There goes all of our listeners. They're gone.
Your girlfriend, no. Your wife, maybe.
Yeah. The girlfriend can leave. The wife needs to stay.
So, John, why don't you tell us a little bit about your origin story, if you will, how you got started in creating comics, how long you've been a fan, all that good stuff.
And
where
how
it all
old are
started.
you? Because you look like you're like 16.
I was going to bring that up, Piper. How dare you?
I'm a girl. I can do that.
You never ask a man his age.
I think I'm probably gonna look 16 until I'm about 30.
That's
so,
not fair at all.
Yeah. But so to answer that, I'm 20 years old actually. Yeah, I got that baby face going on really bad.
Oh, you are a baby, my friend. You can't even drink.
Drinking age.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
I know.
wait, you can't even drink. Damn, man.
That's why I have my A&W cream soda.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've been a fan of comics for a while. I'd say really hardcore about like 2008 when I started reading Jeff Johns' Green Lantern. That was the book that really got me into comics. Before that, I'd read Sonic the Hedgehog, the Archie comic, and a lot of just Archie double digest from like Walmart or whatever.
Oh, good old Walmart. Costco is where I got comics from in the beginning.
Yeah. But
and you get like a giant like literally a chub pack of comics, and you never knew what was in there. They would always put the best comic like on the front because they're like, oh, you're gonna get like 20 Superman comics. No, you get like one Superman comic and then like a Plastic Man and
like a Guy
like
Gardner,
Yeah, the lamest stuff.
I got mine from Walden Books, and they were like a month old every time I went in.
There we go.
I know.
I
It's
have
funny.
y'all beat. I got mine from my dad.
Parents? Come on.
Yeah.
Funny stupid insider thing that no one else is going to care about with me. Whenever we get press releases for comics, it always says, like, in comic book stores this day, and then in bookstores and this day. I'm like, who the fuck buys a comic from a bookstore?
Well, when you don't have a good
crazy.
comic store in your area, that's
true.
about.
Next best place to still kind of support local business would probably be your bookstore.
That was my only option growing up, was the bookstore, unfortunately.
When you're in shitty Alabama, you have to go to a bookstore.
Or the crappy part of North Carolina, not near Charlotte. Where
That would be so strange. That'd be like an alien world to me.
Alabama is an alien world.
yeah, especially compared to California.
How did you know I lived in California? I'm not even joking. I did live in California for like.
I was referencing Casey.
He was referring to me.
Yeah.
I live in California.
I lived in California for a year. But yeah, I think everything I hear out of California from Casey and others, it sounds like a completely different planet to me too.
Yeah, I heard it stays daylight longer there. I don't know if that's true.
It's like the opposite of Alaska.
Was this dark here?
Yeah, this is not interesting conversation to anybody.
Nope.
Daylight savings time.
A lot of people love the time clock. I mean, the clock is very important to everyone's daily life.
Someone, hurry up, bring it to the Clock King. Bring it back to comics.
Or the time stream.
There you go.
There we go.
Check out Brad's article on the Flash episode from last night.
Yeah,
Tuesday.
check it out. Out of time review on geekswithwives.com right now.
Gosh.
All right, gotta rail this back. John, origin story.
Origin story. So I'd always, ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to write. But at first, I wanted to write novels and books. They're all like really bad Kingdom Hearts ripoffs. And then it was about 2010, around there, where I have a friend, Justin Criselli, who he did a lot of YouTube videos, and he did a video one day and said he was writing his own independent comic and he was publishing it. And I was like, wait, people can do that? You could just write your own comic and get it published? Like, that's a thing that happens? So after seeing him do it and get some success with it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and do this. And that's where we are now, with one issue of a comic out.
Just took a shot in the dark. That's what you do when you're young, though. That's what you do when you're 20 years old. You don't have anything. You don't give a fuck.
Whatever. I'm gonna try this.
Dude,
pick up everything you have in your room there and just walk out and never look back. That's
great thing. This isn't even my room. I'm house sitting right now.
Even better.
Even better, yeah.
For a 20-year-old's first comic, I thought it was pretty damn good.
Thank you.
Now, who did the art?
Brandon Washington. He actually lives in California right now, which is funny. I found him through his Tumblr page.
I was gonna say, you need to hold on to that guy with dear life and never let go.
So
I really enjoyed the art to it too. But you wrote the script for it.
yeah, I wrote the script, did all the dialogue and all that stuff. I had to look so many templates for comic book scripts because at first I had no idea what I was doing. But Jim Zub, who writes, he does Skull Kickers and some other stuff. But his website has a lot of really good resources for people starting out in comics.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to check that out then.
Oh yeah, he's written like a bunch of just like little articles about marketing, like jealousy, like just so many different things, just trying to help people out.
So Jonathan, tell me a little bit about the characters, about their inspiration. You and I were talking a little bit kind of before the podcast about the inspiration for Pepper, and I brought up how she kind of reminded me of Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch. But who do you see when you?
She kind of looks like somebody on this podcast panel. Just saying.
You were referencing Raven from the Teen Titans, right?
Yeah. As I said earlier, I kind of started with like Green Lantern and stuff, so I was a big DC kid. Jeez, I was like, what? Not even that long ago. But I started out with DC. Yeah, still a kid. Was still a kid. But I started out with DC, so it's funny because Scarlet Witch. The only really thing I have know of with Scarlet Witch is just the No More Mutants girl.
Yeah.
House of M, right? That was kind of my introduction to her.
That was my introduction to her. Was that? Yep.
She's the Maximoff twins are one of my blank spots when it kind of comes to comics. I'm like,
you guys want to know what my introduction to her was? That terrible Avengers cartoon. Came out in like the 90s. It was like the worst characters ever. It was like Hawkeye and like Vision and like Wonder Man. It was like Iron Man and Captain America never showed up ever. And they had like these big like 90s costumes. What was it? I think it was called like West Coast Avengers, but it was terrible. And that's what I remember first.
West Coast Avengers. No wonder I have never seen.
It's really bad.
Another one of those California things, I guess.
Right? It's one of those on that other planet.
It exists, I swear to God. Brad Backman here.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never actually seen an episode of it, so.
It's unrecognizable. Like their costumes are just like crazy. They're like crazy. It's like the 90th cartoon ever.
Yeah, I heard Daria when I finally got my stuff working. I heard Daria.
Yeah, it's funny. So Pepper, I really wanted to be kind of loosely based off of my wife. She's like very,
Wait
very
a second.
sarcastic.
Back up the train here. Back
I
it up.
didn't even know he was married. Oh my
Back it
god,
up.
what am
Why
I
did-
doing
Why do you
over
think
here?
I showed up on the Geeks with Wives and Capes?
Wait, that's just a name.
Oh, well,
It
you guys are horrible at marketing.
No,
I mean,
they have wives. I'm working on it. Oh my
Oh.
god, I
Are you
feel
working
like
on a wife now?
yes.
in the
Might
lab,
as well
she's making
be.
one.
New haircut and coming out of the closet? Piper, it's a big night for you.
Right? Brand new day.
Brand
No,
new day.
And bringing up a
He's a
Spider-Man
dude.
cartoon? Wow.
He's a dude.
You just-
He's got
you just
enough.
She's
broke my
turned over a new leaf.
But
But
yes,
But-
very.
The relationship did feel like very organic. So did you kind of have the relationship with your wife in mind as y'all
Yeah,
were dating and
yeah,
growing
it was
closer
very
together?
much based on when I was first writing it. I did the stupid thing of not having your characters first and just going. I was like, I know my basic idea. I'll get my characters later. So I just started almost literally copying and pasting like conversations between us, and just kind of trying to get that tone of our back and forth.
Oh, I bet she loved that.
Oh yeah, I get it. I get that all the time. But it's funny because she's basically my editor right now because I write and then I write and write and then she goes, hey, why don't you stop misspelling all these words?
It's okay.
I'll
My
just-
wife's my editor too.
I was gonna say when it's flowing, just put it down. Yeah.
Jonathan, here's what I loved about this book. We read, especially if you're reading the big two, there's so many big superhero stories, big event tie-ins that oftentimes the things we love the most, the characters kind of get lost in the flow of that. And this is a very character-centric story. But I love how you have all these big things going on, these big robots, the death bots. What is it, Dr. Death or Dr. Deathbot or something?
Oh, my favorite line in that comic was like he's all about the D or something like that.
Yeah.
I lost it. I was at work reading it and I just started dying.
But as much as you have all these big things going on, you always come back to the character. And to me, I know it's different. People going to interpret it different ways. But the way I kind of interpret it was that you were providing a commentary in a way on how big comic books have become and how they've kind of lost focus on the characters. And it was really refreshing to see that in the book.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's funny because it feels like I've been reading comics for a very long time, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not really that long. But with just the thing that I think a lot of comics have is just they have so much content that they kind of just start going to the next thing. And then there are books that I love, like Matt Fraction's Hawkeye.
Yeah,
And that was a
great.
book that really kind of like, because I was like, this is exactly what I want from comics. I love the big stuff, but I don't need it all the time. What I really want sometimes is just Kate Bishop being funny.
Yeah.
And just like going to a supermarket for some reason. I don't know.
That's why I think I love Southern Bastard so much, because like it's literally, it has this like overarching like crazy thing happening, but it's literally about like a small town, like Southern town and football.
Yeah.
Like the last like 4 or 5 issues have been about playing football, literally. Like I'm not a football fan, but I love reading every single issue.
And that's my thing about is superhero comics have kind of so many of them are just so big and going to the next thing. Like I loved Kyle Higgins' Nightwing, but I hated how it felt like every other story arc was some tie-in to some Batman event.
Like Court of the Owls, Night of the Owls.
Death of the Family. It never had time to breathe as its own book. And I'm like, I love Dick Grayson as a character, but I feel like I didn't get to see a lot of Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did big events like when you started reading comics? I know you were referencing Green Lantern, but did big events did Blackest Night or Brightest Day? Was it one of those that brought you in or not?
It was before it's funny because I started through YouTube because I started just watching comic book reviews of just guys. I'm like, oh hey, you're funny. I'm gonna listen to you talk about comic books.
That's a cheap way to experience the stories.
Exactly, and I was like, I haven't picked up a comic book in a long time, and someone was it was like a review of the first of the first 2 volumes, I think, of Green Lantern, whatever. And it's funny because technically it was the worst time to jump in, because the first volume is this big convoluted story about Hal Jordan not being the Spectre anymore and getting out of all that weirdness.
Was that Rebirth?
Yeah, Rebirth.
Yeah.
Which is a super complicated story if you haven't read comic books before. But I just jumped into it, and then, so when I started with that, I didn't really have event fatigue. So I loved Blackest Night. I didn't really care for Brightest Day as much because I didn't read all the other crap that it started giving me. But and then I went back and I read Civil War and I looked at some other stuff. But recently, like now, I'm starting to hit my event fatigue. Now it's like Avengers versus X-Men. I was kind of
you and me both.
Yeah, but now it's just like Axis and all this other stuff. I'm just like, okay, Convergence I actually want to read because they're getting me with all these, hey, Renee Montoya's back, hey, all this other stuff, and I'm like, damn it, DC, you're getting me.
Yeah, the events drew me in. I kind of got hooked on comics. It's funny we brought up the Scarlet Witch because House of M was like my entry point in the comics, and I've been hooked ever since. And I used to live for the big summer events like, Civil War, Siege, and all these big Marvel events especially. Then I'm like Casey, I'm like you, I'm just burnt out. And this book kind of
burnt out.
took me back to character.
That's what worries me about, I'm actually kind of excited about fucking Secret Wars, and I know I'm just going to get so disappointed.
I know.
But the last 5, events from Marvel have just been fucking nothing, and, it's really pissing me off.
It's been a lot of hype, and then a whole bunch of, but that didn't really happen.
Yeah, and, especially, Thanos, you introduce these giant characters that people have been pining for, and then you give us, fart, basically. It's like, come on, man.
Yes.
I want to pitch a question to y'all. What was the last, taking the big 2 here, the last good big event story, in your opinion?
Oh, man. With combining both, I really like Flashpoint. I really liked it a lot.
That was good. I enjoyed that.
I think I'm probably in the minority in that one, but I really like Flashpoint a lot.
So this was a hard one for me because I skipped around a lot because I was getting tired of a lot of the convoluted, oh my god, I don't want to buy $5,000 worth of comics just to know what the hell is going on right now.
I'm gonna cheat and just say Blackest Night because that was the one. That was kind of the first event that really got me, because the interesting thing about Blackest Night is that it was very Green Lantern continuity driven, so that I easily followed it because I've been reading the book for however many years before that. But it did the zombie trope, but it had all these Silver Age, old characters. It wasn't hey, remember that guy who died 2 months ago? It was no, hey, remember this character? This very obscure, random, the Atom Smasher? No, you don't? Okay, cool. Here's him as a zombie.
Mine was Siege, because that was kind of the end of Brian Michael Bendis' Avengers run, and Dark Reign had led into that. And when the Sentry took Ares up into the sky, just ripped him in half, I'll never forget that splash page. But that was the last one I really, really enjoyed. But Jonathan, getting back to your comic, I got to tell you, one of the things I absolutely loved is at the end of the day, this comic book is about a couple finding good beer.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what I really loved. I liked that all the action-y stuff, there was enough action-y stuff to, see what they can do and be interested in it. But I like that it was more, it was in the background, and it was more of a, I just want to go home, an annoyance. And I really like how organic the chemistry was, and it's definitely a take on still an action-y superhero style comic that I haven't seen yet, really. So that was really cool. And I just love the banter between the two because it makes me think of my guy, and I'm like, he would have totally done that too.
Most important question, first of all, were they getting beer or was it root beer? Second question, what type of beer were they trying to get? And I feel bad asking this because you're 20.
It already makes me feel sad that they don't like Barks, which Barks was the root beer I started on because my dad didn't know it was caffeinated for the longest time.
I like IBC, and
I've always been
Jonathan referenced.
I've always been like an IBC or an A&W person. Like Barks.
I became an A&W person, yeah.
Like the funny thing about that opening line was that was literally just a conversation we had where we just wanted to get root beer and we'd accidentally gotten Barks and we forgot that it just never sat well.
See, that's so awesome.
That was me being lazy and just like, I'm just gonna take this conversation from real life.
But since it was real, it felt like Piper was saying. It felt organic. It felt real.
Pepper.
Yeah. Pepper.
Pepper, yeah.
Wait, what? I'm getting confused.
No, I said what? I was referencing the comment Piper made about
I
how
thought you were referencing the character. I was like, no.
I knew we were gonna have this issue.
Edward's kind of dynamic felt natural.
Well, let me. I get called Pepper all the time, so.
So,
that's why.
So technically in the story it was supposed to be root beer.
Okay.
I'm the person who's like every reviewer I've talked to is always just like, yeah, they're just going to get some beer, and I'm like, whatever.
Just go with it, right? Yeah. Go with what works sometimes.
Yeah. Let the reader fill in the part, I guess.
Yeah. But
so.
Okay, I was gonna say one of the things I really wanted to do with the book was the thing is like they basically are superheroes, but they're not. Like, it's more so, it's kind of the Peter Parker thing where it's like you have a responsibility. Like, if they come across something, they're like, well, we kind of have to do something about it because we're, walking around with all these powers. But they're not, I want to try and bring up something later in the series about careers. About, like, that's what they call the teenage superheroes. If they run into the Teen Titans, they'd be like, oh, you're a bunch of, like, careers. You're a bunch of kids who like dress up and want to be superheroes for the rest of your life.
Superheroes, that's what their life revolves around.
While like them, they're like, we don't know what we want to do, but we don't want to be doing this forever. We don't want to, get in the watchtower and like do all this stuff. No, we want to like have lives.
I love how they're so like nonchalant about it. Like it's just we have this duty, so I guess we should do something, and it's not as much like over the top like something like Mark Miller's Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. There's one, for some reason, after I got done reading your book, I thought about one thing. And we were talking about this before we went on air, I thought about Man of Steel and the damage that was done and how so many people griped and complained about Superman would never do that. This, 9/11 repeat.
Have they not
We're tired of it.
Superman comics? I mean,
it's hilarious because if you follow me on Twitter at Jon Johnstick, when Man of Steel came out, you would have saw a lot of angry tweets from somebody. Somebody who hated that movie.
I still hate that movie. I hate watching it.
I've seen it twice. I watched it a second time with one of our mutual friends because me and my wife both hate it, and we were like, you know what? Our friend wants to watch it. Let's clear our minds, and maybe it was just a movie theater. Maybe we were just sitting in the theater, and we just didn't like it then, and maybe we'll like it now. Hated it even more the second time.
Yeah, well, see, you pick out more things.
Yeah, and I
just
noticed so many more things are so just fucking boring.
But your book kind of hinted what actually happens when collateral damage like that happens in real life, right? Because their car gets screwed up, and when your car gets screwed up for your average person, it's a big pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And
I love how you hit that in this book.
Yeah, I really wanted to, because that's just, like we've talked about this entire time, is like superhero comics have gotten so big that they forget these little moments, and that's what Spider-Man used to be. The Fantastic Four used to be about these real people who happen to do this stuff.
Yeah.
They worried about rent, worried about bills, and we've kind of lost a lot of that in superhero comics because they've just kind of become, hey, who could punch this person the hardest,
But if you believe David Goyer and everybody, Zack Snyder that worked on Man of Steel, they say he's learning how to be Superman, and there will be repercussions in Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, that's called backtracking and saving some of us.
Exactly, Jason.
The sad thing is, like, I have a friend who's really hyper excited for the Batman vs Superman movie because he loves Dark Knight Returns, and he's like, "Oh, it's gonna be just like that," and I'm like, I cannot care. I just can't care about that movie. I should care about Batman and Superman being together, but anyway.
So this was a news item, so I guess we'll talk about it now. Spoiler alert! If you don't want to fucking hear about something that may or may not happen in Suicide Squad, I don't know.
Oh,
But people get
Batman?
angry.
Oh yeah.
So apparently, again, this makes zero sense to me because I don't understand how this could ever happen. But again, the thing came up where Batman's been operating for like 20 years. No one has seen him or ever. He's like a legend. Like the only person that's come in contact with him is the Joker, but somehow he's put away all these criminals and no one's ever seen him. And like he will show up in the Suicide Squad movie, but it'll be like them like watching footage of him like fighting.
I hope they do. Well, it's funny because I saw like, I remember seeing that and I was like, I hope they just do. Have you guys seen Assault on Arkham? That direct.
Yes.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. It's good, but the problem with that movie is, they called it Batman Assault on Arkham, and Batman is literally in it for 45 seconds.
But I love how they used him. Is like what I was gonna reference is that Batman's just kind of like a force of nature, and we're following these villains. And my favorite thing about the movie was that Harley Quinn was like showed up somewhere, and Batman was just there, and we didn't know how he got there. If we were following Batman the entire time, we would have known. But since we're following the villains, we get to see what it feels like to live in a world with Batman where he just fucking shows up places. You don't know how he got there, and he's just like kicking ass the entire time. So I hope they do something like that where Batman just stops, like at the end of the movie, he just shows up and stops them, and it's like, how did you know where we were? And you never know.
I just wonder where chronologically in the DC Cinematic Universe Suicide Squad takes place. I know the release date's after Batman vs. Superman, but is it set before the events of that? After the events?
Let me tell you something about chronological and the DC
Cinematic
movie universe. That doesn't exist. Like that word does not exist in the DC movie universe. It's not like Marvel where shit makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, because
they're
we
literally all separate things until you have this Batman versus Superman, which doesn't count as Superman 2. That's the really first time they've ever tried.
It's weird because it's like with it says like the Justice League movie's coming out, and then later on we're gonna get Flash and Green Lantern and all this stuff, and I'm like, so wait, are they just? I'm confused.
So the Justice League.
I think what they're doing.
Batman and Wonder Woman. I
think what they're doing is they're kind of they're anticipating superhero fatigue.
Yeah.
So they're like, we have to get Justice League out before everything else because that's what's going to make us the money.
Yeah.
So let's do that first, and then if like superhero movies are still making money and they're still popular and they're still viable, then we can make these other weird movies that nobody really cares about anyway. But that, like, let's be honest, like we always want to see the Justice League movie, like, and that's what sucks about DC is I think the Flash is on TV is perfect, like it's almost a perfect show.
Yeah.
And for that character, and then now you're gonna have to like bring in this other guy who's the Flash, and what if that movie sucks? You know, like I don't know, it just seems so like weird.
I have this a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. You can look this up online. They predicted that the blockbuster would be the death of the modern studio system. That they would get so big, studios would invest so much money in them that a few would fail in a row, and it would kill one of the major studios like Disney, Warner Brothers, and Disney. I'd never see this happen.
I don't think this is gonna happen.
No! It almost happened, Disney.
Yeah.
Really?
Lone Ranger almost saved them.
But
that was a $250 million movie that made like barely $100 million, if that.
John Carter, right? Is that what you're referencing, Casey? Well, what I was saying was,
I love John Carter.
I feel we're in the golden age of superhero movies, and the superhero bubble, and the golden age of superheroes in general. I'm a high school teacher. All the kids, cool kids, the nerds, whatever, are wearing their Wolverine and their Spider-Man t-shirts. I wore that crap in high school. I got picked on. I was a geek. I was a nerd. I was like, why couldn't I go to high school now? But we're in this golden age of superheroes, and it can only last so long. Of course, the geeks like us are always going to love it, but eventually the bubble is going to burst, The studios are going to lose a lot of money on one of these movies, and we're going to see them go away for a while.
And
Well,
I think we're starting to see it with Sony. Oh, I was just saying, I think we're starting to see it with Sony and the Spider-Man franchise. Like, they were doing it before the Marvel Studios got really big, and you can tell the more and more movies they do. Like Amazing Spider-Man 1 did pretty well. Spider-Man 2 pretty well, but they're starting to lose that kind of aura
expected
that
them. Yeah, they expect them to be billion-dollar movies, and I believe Amazing Spider-Man 2 made $750 million, which was a big success.
And now they're going to Marvel with their tail between. They're like, hey, you guys want to work together, and let's reboot this character once again. Which
what I think is happening is, because I know for me, Spider-Man wasn't even that big a deal to me, but I knew who he was, and I followed him enough to want to see the movie. So I think what happened was, at first, we were all freaking excited that, oh my god, they're making movies about this stuff, period. Now we're so oversaturated that we're getting picky.
How about Jason Momoa this week signing an autograph for a fan, and he writes on the autograph, he signs his name, Jason Momoa, on that Aquaman image, and he says, somebody else do the line, I'm not going to drop the F-bomb. He says, what to Marvel, guys?
I don't know, I didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
No, I just heard about this in the
He pretty much said, he said F Marvel. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. That guy seems like kind of a dickbag. I'm not gonna lie.
What I find hilarious is that his Aquaman costume is literally just every character he's ever played on TV.
Yes.
It's his character from Stargate Atlantis. It's his character from Game of Thrones. Like,
what I find funny is they have one movie.
Yeah.
Like, you have nothing to say. You have one mediocre movie that nobody, like, not a lot of people really like that much.
Yeah.
And everything we've seen from Batman vs Superman, the coolest part is stuff that already happened in a comic book.
Yeah.
So like I don't know.
All we see is stoic stills of characters standing in like some black and white picture.
Hey, when you can just grunt and get Emily Clark, you have a right to be a little bit of a jerk, right?
Yeah, if he wasn't so goddamn gorgeous, I may be mad at him, but I just can't be. His eyes.
But you know, that does benefit and kind of give power to. There are, oh my gosh, I even have friends, and it drives me crazy, that are just so loyal to either Marvel or DC that no matter how good the other company does on something, they refuse to even give it the time of day or anything. That's what that helps. That helps those die-hard people that really are like F Marvel.
Hey, assholes! Person. They're making $1 billion a piece. So why do you give a fuck? Like,
you know, they're making that money off. They're making money off of people who are excited that comic books are in. Period.
There's no civic pride. It's not a sports team. It's kind of like when I ride around, even you see this in North Carolina, believe it or not, especially in Charlotte, somebody with the freaking Apple logo on their car.
Yeah.
Are you rooting for Apple? Like, you're rooting for them to do well. You're against Microsoft.
My brother-in-laws are like diehard Apple guys. Apple cannot fail. They have every Apple product. And I'm like, why does it matter? There's so much. The thing right now is that we live, I mean, you're saying a golden age. There's so much of everything. You could get 20 million different phones if you want from 5 or 6 different companies. And you can read if you want to read a Squirrel Girl comic book, you can read a Squirrel Girl comic book. Why limit yourself to what you can enjoy?
Yeah, no, I've had to deal with my friends that are strictly PC, finding out that, like, I felt like I had to hide the fact that I do a lot of my design work on a Mac, because I use both for what they're good for, but oh my god, they'll sit there and go, ew, you use Mac, and I'm like, oh, I'm making the most out of what's available to me.
Exactly.
Right? So I can't
I think you need to get new friends.
Right? No, I swear, I'm like, out of so many of my friends, I feel like I'm the only one that's not on some sort of team. Except I do hate Sony, so there is that. So.
Pictures, or we have to get specific here?
Now I hate
Sony Japan.
No, I hate I hate Sony for the way they treat their customers on their electronics.
Yeah.
So while I
Well-
used to be like game systems, I didn't care if I liked the game. I was playing it regardless of what it was on.
Yeah.
With the way they treated their customers, I won't touch PlayStation anymore. I'm missing out on.
Okay.
I'm missing out on games that I would love to play, but I won't touch PlayStation
Well,
anymore.
Kim Jong-un, he doesn't like them either. So,
Oh, thanks.
That in
That
common.
makes me feel so
That
much.
is like you with the evil dictator, Piper.
The worst part is that was a shitty movie. That's the worst part
Right,
of it.
and now,
I felt like I had to
now they're
watch it.
movies, right?
So,
All right, well, go
I
ahead.
was going to ask if any of you guys got to check out, I know we talked about, Casey and Piper, the Easter Bunny Batman RoboCop remix
yeah.
last week, but I was going to ask if you guys got a chance to check out the post-convergence Wonder Woman, the Arrow costume, and the Flash costume, and the Superman supposed costume.
Yeah, I mean, we talked to. I did. I'm a hoodie guy, so I'm partial to the Green Lantern one. Like,
Yeah, I like
Oh,
yeah, I
okay,
like
yeah.
that one.
I would definitely like rock that. Like,
I like
outside
that.
Of my house.
I have not checked out the Superman one. I noticed that I
It's
had
jeans
a
and
lot
a
of
t-shirt.
people.
Yeah, it's just
Oh.
Yeah,
and he has like a. He has
Okay,
Jonathan's
I get
haircut.
the joke now because now
Yeah.
now people are like, well, how is he doing his hidden identity now? If he like goes and
I
buys the
think
Superman
that's-
shirt,
it's
oh my God, everybody.
Because the storyline, like, it's supposed to come, the Superman costume's supposed to come out of this big truth storyline. So I'm thinking it might have something to do with his identity going public.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
well, in
yeah.
that case, if he's not trying to hide his identity, I would always be comfort over style.
I think
He
any
looks
day.
pretty
You can
sexy.
tell by
I'm not gonna
stuff
lie.
What?
I think Wonder Woman's costume is a little much, though.
Wonder
Shit.
Woman, I was going to say, Wonder Woman's I've seen a lot of complaints about, so, I had to, I like Wonder
I
Woman.
heard.
so
I heard
definitely had to-
she's gonna show up in Mortal Kombat, so that's why she's wearing that costume.
Right? So, I went and hurried up and checked out her outfit, because I do love me some Wonder Woman, and I was kind of like, yeah, it's kind of, over the top. They went
She's
from,
hot.
her costume was super simplistic, typical, I don't know, chick.
Well,
Like there's a lot of
Like-
chafing going on in that costume.
Yeah, I was going to say way too much going on. I have one of the complaints I have over Batgirl's recent costume, which is, yeah, I like that it's, not all about the titties anymore. But at the same time, if you want range of motion and you're trying to do what you're trying to do, you're not going to accomplish that in Batgirl's costume, and you're not going to accomplish that really in Wonder Woman's new costume either.
Do you guys
Yeah.
remember when JMS took over Wonder Woman and there's that big kind of reboot, whatever, with like issue
Yeah.
600? I actually didn't mind that costume. With
That
the,
was a
it was
good
It was like with the
costume.
leather
Straczynski.
jacket and pants, like,
Yeah, the costume she had for like 5 issues.
yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right? I was like, that was a good
I,
redesign, Why
I
did-
heard
Mostly when I'm looking
speculation.
at costumes, I'm either looking at whether or not A, they just look retarded and ridiculous and funny and just who's going to take you seriously, and then I look at B, are you going to be able to actually accomplish what you usually do
Yeah.
in those clothes? And for Wonder Woman, I just don't think that she's going to be able to. She should technically be able to be Wonder Woman
Yeah.
in that getup.
Well, I heard that they were kind of upset with how David Finch had been drawing her and kind of objectifying her a little bit. So somebody at DC, I'm not sure, don't quote me on this, I'm not sure if David Finch designed this costume. I don't believe he did. I believe it was someone else, and they wanted to give her this completely covered costume so that David Finch couldn't draw a more exploitative version of Wonder Woman.
See, I just felt like
Have you
David Finch-
seen
I heard
Have you seen Black Widow's costume? It's she's completely covered, but they still put her butt everywhere they possibly can.
Like
I
that
heard-
Spider
Still
Woman cover.
objectify
Yeah.
one-
I heard
right?
I heard Wonder Woman's joining the American Gladiators. That's why she gets the movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say you
Does
can
look
still
like that.
objectify a chick no matter what she's wearing. I mean, if
I
you
love
really
that
wanted to
stupid,
and got
like,
creative.
shoulder shield or whatever she has going on. It's like,
And that's not even, I don't know, that's not even the worst part. I just think it's a little too restricting. I mean,
yeah.
for the range of motion that you need.
I mean,
But
it's-
I also never had a problem with her old outfit either. So.
Hey Piper,
Hmm.
she's not real.
Yes, but I love when you can at least get a little bit of,
I'm just
yeah, this character could accomplish this, and so that you can get somewhat absorbed in the story. They're stories for me, but if you're gonna make them ridiculous, then you're gonna be sitting there asking yourself, how the fuck does she do that when she's wearing fucking this? You know?
I like what they're doing with Green Arrow because they kind of were making him look more like CW Arrow, but now he's more of a hybrid between CW Arrow and classic Ollie, and I'm
Yeah.
digging that look with the little
Yeah.
longer beard.
Well, yeah, I like that. That way, too, I don't think they want people to assume that the show and the comic are going to go hand in hand and be the same storyline. And if you make them look too close together, you're going to get readers coming in that are going to assume that they're supposed to be the same storyline and probably get confused.
And when you're also throwing in every single supporting character from Arrow and then slightly changing their backstory still, so it's even more confusing.
Yeah.
That is confusing.
Like, oh, hey, Felicity's in this. I want to read this. Wait, hold on. This isn't the Felicity I know.
Yeah.
It's like,
as long as they're being a little self-aware in the fact that, their TV shows are going to get them new readers. If you become a fan of the show, you're going to want more story the most story you can get your hands on if you become a big fan. And it'll get really confusing if it looks too similar and then people don't know what's what.
So do we want to do Week in Geek? We got about 10 minutes left.
Yeah,
I don't know,
that just means that Casey's not allowed to.
To be honest, I didn't really read anything that's like was
Yeah,
like,
right.
Like, great.
Right? You say that every time.
No. Like I said, no, I did read stuff. I just said I didn't like really read anything. I feel like I need to talk about. Like Princess Leia was like too much dialogue. I felt like still good, but there's a lot of it was like reading a fucking novel. I really like the Black Vortex chapter 5 and 6. But it's a weird crossover. Then it's really spacey, and it has like the X-Men and Guardians of the Galaxy. I talked about it before, but like I said, if you're not reading it, you're not gonna understand anything I fucking say about it. So no point in bringing it up. It's really good, and the Guardians team up number 3 has artist my times. So pick that up just to support that guy because he's awesome. Yeah, that's all I read, and I'm reading Goners still, and then I read Ed John's book, so not too much stuff for me.
I got to read a comic that was eagerly anticipating. I got to read Archie versus Predator, which the review will be going up on geekswithwives.com tomorrow. And what I really dig about this book, it's everything you'd expect out of an Archie book. It's everything you would expect out of the first act of a Predator movie. Believe it or not, it works really, really well. It's a ton of fun.
I'm going to have to read this review because as soon as I saw the cover for Archie versus Predator, I was like, what the hell is going on?
Archie has been legit since Afterlife with Archie, Death of Archie.
Archie as a company has been putting out some stuff recently. Like, those guys have been really up in their game.
Yeah, but I read Brad's review.
It's just, it freaks me out because back when I remember Archie and then, I dropped off because, to me it was goody two-shoes and I wanted, like, hardcore comics and stuff. And then all of a sudden Archie keeps popping up now in hardcore comics conversations and I'm going, what is happening? What in the world happened?
I'm really excited, weirdly excited for this Mark Waid, Fiona Staples, Archie.
Yeah.
Like... I don't know why, but it just excites me to know it.
The redesign looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, it does. We got, like, a hunky high school heartthrob Archie going on. He's got, like, his hair all up. And
don't forget, we're getting an Archie TV show, too.
Oh yeah.
I heard that.
They're doing Afterlife. Yeah, they're doing Afterlife with Archie episodes on Halloween.
Oh, that will be
God.
epic.
It's gonna be
That
crazy.
is so crazy.
Casey, what were you going to say about the review?
Yeah, I was going to say, back to Brad's review. Great review, Brad, but you're a little generous with the score. I'm not sure I would give it a 10.
Wow, Brad, come on now.
I was a little.
Shit.
I just
That
had.
was a spoiler.
It was.
I just had so much fun with that book. Just sheer enjoyment the whole time. And I'm not like an Archie fanboy. I'm not a huge Predator fanboy. I like Predator. I don't love Predator, but I felt like they kind of got the best of both. And Oh, it was just different, and
Yeah,
like we were talking
Yeah.
about with Jonathan's book,
Weird.
so many times comics are the same thing over and over, and Jonathan's book was different. So was the Archie versus
I'm just
Predator.
giving you shit. But yeah, no, yeah, you're totally entitled to your score and the reason why you gave it. I was just totally just giving you shit for it because I was like, really?
Oh, even I was surprised.
10,
I'm like,
man?
wait, I was
All
like,
right.
hold up,
All right,
hold
I'll
up.
take a 10.
So
All
Archie
right.
though, right?
That's I mean, yeah, and Brad's right though. Like, in his review is really well written and really laid out his points that he laid out here nicely. That like it does both things so perfectly and it meshes them together so perfectly, and then the art on top of it, and then the art and the colors on top of it, and everything just kind of comes together and makes it a really enjoyable experience. And that's what comics should be, and they can be as crazy as they want as long as they're enjoyable.
I'm
And
waiting for
Right.
Kathy versus aliens. They fight over chocolate.
Hey, if you're on the fence with any of this Archie stuff, I was with every Archie thing I've checked out recently, but once I got into them, like, this is legit.
So check that out. Comes out next week. Advanced review going up tomorrow. Exclusive on Geeks with Wives and other places. Piper, what did you read this week?
All
Anything good?
right. I read some random stuff. I was trying to go way out of my usual like picks zone. First I read like a whole bunch of Danger Club.
Oh, good. We're gonna have the author on real soon.
Oh, cool.
Oh, perfect. Should I wait?
Yeah. Why don't you save that talk? Why
Or
don't you
can
save
I
that?
say, okay, I'll wait and say what I think of Danger Club. All I'm going to say is, holy shit, man, like, damn. I'm going to say it was like
Yeah.
a bunch of really cute kids, just gore, oh my god, oh man. So I guess I'll save it and go for something cute like Part-Time Princess, which is way out of my comfort zone, but
I was
I
glad you read it,
decided, what?
I'm glad you read it. I was hoping somebody would.
Okay, yeah. So I caught up, I guess, on a bunch of Part-Time Princess. It was way out of my comfort zone because, I mean, it had princess, and even from first looks at it, I was like, yeah, this is not designed for me. But, I still decided to read it because that's my favorite thing about reading, like, trying to be as random as possible, I guess. Especially for this podcast because I already know that, like, you guys review, like, the big names. So I go and find like stuff that I think is weird. I guess.
We
So,
got Archie covered. Okay.
Yeah.
that I think that's why my mind is so blown is that you covered something that is so freaking weird that it's like even too weird for me to touch. Like even I'm like, but it's fucking Archie. I thought he was like God, like this. Anyway, such weird shit's been happening to him. Anyway, Part-Time Princess. I can't remember. Let's see what number I got to. I think I got all the way through. I don't know. I've read like this huge collection. I think it
I
got me
feel like they
through.
come out every week.
Are you serious? I said that like I was upset. I don't.
She ain't no part-time princess.
I-
She's a
oh,
full-time
wow, man.
princess,
Yeah.
all right?
Working 40 hours a week, like.
Yeah.
I read a
He's getting that
collection
time
of
and a
Part-Time
half.
Princess, so I'm not sure what number it brought me to, but it was interesting in the fact that I didn't think I was going to like it. The more I read, the less I thought I was going to give a shit about these characters, to be bluntly honest. And yet I kept reading. And then I kind of kept giving a shit about these characters. It's 4 high school girls in their senior year, and I guess this rundown, really crappy amusement park that is fairy tale themed. They dressed up and played princesses, and they were just as snotty to their coworkers as they were to their fellow high school students. I think what really got me interested and what really kept me reading was the fact that all of these girls thought they had their future plans. They thought they had their shit together. One was going to be an actress, one was going to be a model, another one was super brainy, she was going to go to a good school, and another one was super athletic, and she was going to go to school for that. And despite the fact that in high school they were the top of their, perspective, what they wanted to do. As soon as high school ended, they were I'm reading stuff that Brad's typing. So everybody tell Brad to stop typing. um, and as soon as they graduated, the stuff fell apart. So, I mean, their last season at this amusement park playing their princesses, they kind of made this grand exit of, well, screw you guys, we're out of here, we're on to bigger and better things. And then those bigger and better things, hardcore, didn't happen. All they had left was the fact that they were invited back to their jobs playing these princesses. Unfortunately, the park was going to crap, so their jobs were at risk. And they all went above and beyond, started learning new skills, outside of their comfort zone and this and that in order to keep the park going because that's all they had. So I'm really glad I kept reading because at first I was like, oh, great, stereotypical snotty chicks. Yay, where in the hell are we trying to take this? I don't get it. And they took it where these chicks they got hit by the real world really hard and they had to grow and learn really fast, and all of a sudden they're taking out like thugs that are trying to trash the park and this and that, which was really freaking cool. And but then I got
Are we still talking about Part-Time Princess?
Yeah.
So it's like Adventureland meets some type of...
I was just say, this sounds like a really great independent film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I gotta say this though, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I hate the art. I cannot stand the art in this comic. It's so wiggly that sometimes it's hard to tell who is who. Because of the art. I'm not gonna trash the artist. I'm just saying for this particular comic,
Pretty sure you just did.
Well, no, I'm saying if they do standalone pictures, I'm sure it's awesome. The art is still good in that way, but in a comic, it's not staying the same between panels enough for me to sometimes even tell who is who.
Maybe so are the artists rotating? There's multiple artists on the book, or
No, what I read
switch artists?
It still looks like the same artist. It just looks like their style isn't concrete yet.
Yeah.
So it kind of looks like my art, where it's I have to try.
Yeah,
super,
way to
super
save some face.
hard.
Way to save some face, Piper.
No, I'm saying I have to try super hard for you to be able to, for a character to stay the same from every angle, everything they're doing, every position. There's two blonde girls that keep getting mixed up because their hair is the same length and they're being drawn almost the same.
Heck, I've seen that happen in Marvel and DC all the time. Like, sometimes...
Yeah, and I think part of this, too, is that there's no color. It's all black and white, what I read, and that makes it that much harder. So I'm just not a fan, personally, of the art style of this comic. That's not saying I'm not a fan of the person's art. I'm just not a fan of the art style in this particular comic. Which happens sometimes, but it wasn't enough to make me give up on the comic. I was really surprised that I liked it, and I'm really surprised that I want to read the rest of it because I want to know what happens.
So I'm curious, what does a 20-year-old comic creator check out during the week? Like, what's your week in geek?
Yeah.
Do you have time to read comics? Since I know you're probably working on future scripts and whatnot and got other stuff going on.
I got another, my friend, we're co-writing a book right now. We're in talks with an artist, but he's kind of busy right now, so it might be pushed till May. So we're just cranking out scripts for this new book. I'm still working on Edward Pepper stuff, but right now the finances have been a little shaky. So I was able to pick up Deadly Class Volume 1 and Icon Science, and oh my god, those books are amazing.
Isn't Deadly Class weird? Okay, so the weird, I got Deadly Class, and I was like, oh, cool, it's like I can be a high school about assassins, and they're gonna go off and have adventures and kill people, and it's gonna be really violent. Nope, there's no high schooling, there's no assassins class.
Really subverted my
really
expectations from panel 1. I was like, okay, this is not what I thought it was going to be, and then it gets a little weirder in the middle with his arch nemesis guy who's out in the bar.
It's like a grungy Melrose Place. Or no, it's like a grungy 90210, where there's murder and rape and stuff.
And drugs and hardcore drug use.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Jonathan, do you know what Melrose Place and 90210 are? That's the question. Being 20 years old.
Right?
Yes, I am quite
What would be the equivalent? The Hills?
One Tree Hill and the OC.
Pretty hell. I didn't even watch
Oh,
one.
I couldn't watch those either.
Hey, let me tell
Maybe
you
I was
something.
too old. I don't
I'm
know.
more of an Angel guy. So.
The OC had some comic book
Technically, I was
stuff
Saved
going
by
on.
the Bell.
Boy Meets World, if we're gonna go that like.
Yeah.
I'm a Wonder Years guy.
Ooh, I remember
Oh my
Wonder
gosh,
Years.
old man status.
But that's because it was on TV Land, and I stayed up late. That's the only reason. Totally not old. Promise.
I have a question about the book before we get off here. I just want to ask this. Are there any plans, Jonathan, to take the book to print, or is it just going to be a digital series? Because I know that's tough to do.
Yeah, I want to take it to print right now. You know, as I said earlier, finance is a little shaky. I'm looking to definitely, I really want to take it to print, at least if not for cons, you know?
Yeah.
But and also if there's just people reading it can get high enough, I can only the digital copy is only 99 cents on primalpapercomics.com. So
I was
love
gonna say too, a lot of the super indie comics, they'll make the digital version on their own, and they can do that just fine. And then they'll do the Kickstarter just to make the print version, so they already have it ready for people that are donating.
The print is where the cost is at. In fact, you can upload comics free to Comixology and Comic Fix and things like that. So.
The formatting on that's a bitch, though. For Comixology, the formatting's really specific. Like I tried uploading it as it is now, and they said, "Oh, hey, we like it. Just fix all these formatting issues." And I'm like, "Shit." Because formatting.
You should look into Comics Fix. When we get off this, Comic Fix. Yep.
Oh yeah.
They're friends of ours. They'll hook you up. Tell them we sent you.
Yes.
And they'll get you on there, and they'll get people reading your book for sure. All right, guys. So we gotta wrap it up here. So let's go around and do our plugs. Brad, you want to go first? Or where can we find you? Where can we find your articles? All that good stuff. What have you been writing? What have you been doing?
Yeah, you can find me on geekswithwives.com. I'm gonna try to do a Flash recap every week called The Flash Reverse. A very clever name. I know we'll do a weekly Flash Reverse recapping, kind of reviewing the episode. You can see my comic review of Archie versus Predator popping up tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to you guys reading my 10 out of 10 score and seeing why I justified that. And
I'm a terrible editor, a terrible editor-in-chief, by the way.
And
I'm a terrible host, so I apologize.
And you can find me on Twitter at the Real Brad Bell, REEL Brad Bell. That's all my handles on Instagram, and everything is at the Real Brad Bell.
Thank you, Bradley. Piper, where can we find you?
You can find me at FizzGiggity on Twitter. I hang out there often because it's on my phone. You're better off searching for Piper, just as long as you see that it's at FizzGiggity. It is the Twitter account that is probably going to keep me from ever being employed by a decent company ever.
Yeah, I would say so. Probably say
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I know. I just got lectured on it in class, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to delete this thing, but I don't want to. But you can find me there. You can find some of my articles on Geeks with Wives when I have time to do articles. Most of them are editorials right now because that's what I have time for. And obviously on this podcast. You can also maybe find me on Outside Boxcast on Twitter and a lot of other places.
We don't have time for that conversation.
Oh, I was not going to say anything. I was just going to say that you should follow that.
Go follow Outside the Boxcast.
Go follow Outside Boxcast, and from there you'll get, you'll be able to find explanations as to what that is.
And sign Piper's petition, the Poison Ivy petition.
Yeah.
Trying to get her own book, right, Piper?
Yeah, that was actually the first thing on my mind when I was like, all right, when it's my turn, I'm going to boost that. Thank you so much, Brad. Yeah, sign my petition to get Poison Ivy her own DC comic.
I didn't even I didn't know that was yours. I've been seeing that pop up a lot. Like,
the petition?
Yeah.
That makes me feel good. Yeah, that's mine. I'm the Piper that started the petition because if we're going to put females in comics, let's put existing females that already deserve their own comic.
Piper, now I don't want to discount anything, but I wanted you to get famous from Geeks with Wives, not from a petition about Poison Ivy. So.
Oh, fine.
And check out
So find the petition through Geeks with Wives.
and
There you
check
go.
out my top 5 article on existing female characters in comics that deserve their own book. It's kind of a good complimentary piece to what Piper is going for with Ivy.
Yeah, and the link I believe is there too, isn't it? It's there, and it's
yes.
in my Feminism in Comics article, which Brad's compliments perfectly, so you should read them both, one right after another. Oh, yeah.
And then burn your bra.
They're like 2 lesbians in a hot tub.
Right. Burn your bra and disown pants. Pants are a tool of the patriarchy.
Oh my goodness, Josh. John, where can we find you in your awesome book?
Sorry, words fail me for a second there. You can find me on Twitter at Jon Johnstick. I'm usually there either petitioning for me to write the Legion of Superheroes book, or just making the male patriarchy angry, usually a lot. And you can find my book, The Monogamous Adventures of Edward and Pepper, on primalpapercomics.com. It's for 99 cents. There's a bunch of other titles there from the other Primal Paper guys. They're all really good, but if you're going to buy a book, buy mine first, obviously. And yeah, that's about it.
Jonathan, before we get off here, when can we expect issue 2?
Issue 2 should come up in at least the next week or so.
Wow.
We're having some issues with the server right now. It's finished. It's all done.
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, it's pretty good. This one's got a lot of forward momentum. Basically, this issue kickstarts the rest of the series.
Sweet.
We got some really good, interesting family history stuff that we start to get hints of here. So you get a good idea of what the book's going to be like.
Can't wait.
So go pick up the Monogamous Adventures of Edward and Pepper.
And remember, that's Pepper.
Yeah. If enough people sign the petition, though, it might get turned to Piper.
Maybe just change it to Piper.
Nice.
Yeah, John, let's talk about a little bit of cross-promoting idea. Maybe we could change the name here and really get this thing going. All right, so that's the end of our show. You guys can find me at the Bad Boy of Comics. If you're going to be in the Central Valley of California, that's like the middle of California, Fresno and the surrounding areas, I will be at FresCon, which is a comic convention at Fresno State University, and I'll be hosting. What am I doing there? Shit. I'll be hosting.
Right?
Yeah. I'll be hosting a Q&A from 6 to 7. And the cosplay competition from 7 to 8, I think. That sounds right. Just show up there. I'll be there. I'll be around. I'll be doing stuff. I'll be making jokes. I'll be being terrible at hosting as usual. Obviously, they do not listen to this episode or this podcast very much. I con people. I'm like, yeah, I'm an editor-in-chief of a website that does comic book stuff, so let me come host your shit. Here's a microphone, you retard. That's where was I? So find me at Bad Boy Comics. You guys can also follow us at GWW Capes Crew. Also make sure you guys are going to geekswithwives.com every single day because amazing stuff by Piper and by Brad and by our video games team is going up all the time, and it's great stuff, very unique articles, stuff you're not going to find anywhere else. So make sure you guys are going there. Make sure you guys are listening to our other 2 podcasts, the Geeks with Wives proper, where they talk about video games and stuff, and the Geeks on the Screen, where they talk about movies and TV. That's about it. I think I got everything. Guys, anything else?
Your magazine, Casey. Your magazine.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, your magazine. I was about to bring that up too.
I should plug the people that pay me.
Also,
Nope.
they should totally hire me too.
Yeah, we'll get on that. I'm totally kidding. They totally would. What's the magazine called? Oh, Cosplay Culture Magazine. You guys can find it at Walmart and Target and places where you buy magazines. Issue 2 is coming out in May. And I just wrote a nice article about Harley Quinn cosplay in it, so make sure you guys check that out. And go pick up Cosplay Culture Magazine. And my daughter is saying it's time to go. So that's it for our show. thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, Jon Johnstick, so much for coming on. I'm your host. I'm your host, Casey. Bad Boys of Comics. Go to Geeks with Wives, and we will catch you guys on the geek side.
Oh my god.